Okay, I just wanted to do a quick flip through of the miniature version of the nature journal from the big one. So this is how really big this one is. It has 6 pages inside, and I did a flip through on this one the other day, but I had promised some friends that I was working on making a smaller version, and so this is it. And I call it kind of card sized, so it's actually 4 inches wide by the 5.5 inches tall. The only difference in this and in our A2 card size is you lose the 1/4 inch because you turn the 1/2 inch from the 1/4 inch of either half into the spine. So it has a 1/2 inch spine on it. I used papers from the same collection. And let's see. I think I can show the cover of it. This was the paper pad that I bought. Beautiful, beautiful nature themed papers in it. And it came from a Tuesday morning store. I've never seen it in their store again, but different locations might have different things at different times. So I decided to use the seam binding for my tie closure just because I like that. That's one of my go-to closures on books of all sizes. I copied, so to speak, a few of the things that I had done in the larger one, but of course, with everything being so much smaller, they're on a lot smaller scale and kind of less of it. But I had to include a little waterfall. So there's the waterfall with the magnetic band, and I decided to put the slide on it like I did on the larger one. I'm going to put something here. I just haven't decided if I want it to be a die cut or a fussy cut piece from something in the collection or just a sticker type embellishment or something. So I just haven't decided. The right thing hasn't spoke to me yet. But if you didn't want the slide, it could always be removed and just turned into a tag or you know, thing to go in another pocket. But I just like the idea of the slide to decorate the bands, and so that's what I did with it. Then I die cut the word discover 2 times, one time out of the wood grain looking section of background paper, and then one out of the same green. This was just a green cardstock that I think I bought on clearance at Hobby Lobby. I probably had it for 5 years or longer. Happened to run across it when I was plundering in my studio, and I was like, that is a perfect nature green. So I pulled it out, and I've been using a lot from it. So once those 25 sheets are gone, they're gone, but it's a really pretty green paper. But I offset so that the green kind of created the shadow, and then I did a little distress ink over the wood grain paper just to tone it down because it was a little too bright. It was actually more like this was, and I wanted it to be a little darker since I had used the darker wood board looking background paper for the inside cover page. And then I just did the little miniature waterfall. And it's got 4, and then, of course, the little back piece. So that's what the inside cover looks like. Then when you open it up, I did a single pocket here, and then these were some of the cut-apart pieces from the collection. So I just used them to make journaling cards, or they could be photo mats. A photo could be put there. There would also be room for a photo or journaling to go there. There were a couple of butterflies on one of the sheets that I had cut a lot of stuff off of, and I didn't want them to go to waste, so I fussy cut the butterflies and have used them on a couple of pages in the book. So this one opens up similar to how the big book did, except I don't have as much on it because it's such a smaller page. So this is just a solid page, and I love how the patterned papers in this collection have areas that made them look old, distressed, and that sort of thing. So that was just a really, you know, I made that fit there like I wanted it to. Then this is the side pocket, and I used one of the pieces that had text and cut it just to fit. And this says, because, let me start that over again. It says, "Heaven is under our feet as well as over our heads," by Henry David Thoreau. I used them this way because I didn't want to cut them apart, trying to use them on a smaller page, you know, part on one and part on the other. And I've done this to both the pockets that are like this, and they just fit so perfectly. This was another one of the journaling card cut apart things, but I cut it down so that it would fit on one of the little foldovers, and the little foldover just fits perfectly into that pocket, so it's plenty of room for extra stuff, because I wanted to keep this book small. It only has 2 inside pages, which is actually one gusseted page inside the spine. So when this opens up, this is the center of the book, similar to how the large book was. But what I did on this one, I wanted to use the same background paper for my middle layout, but I wanted to be able to add a few things to it since the pages were limited. So I put belly bands on either side. This was one of the other cut apart, so I trimmed it down to fit the outside of another one of the little foldovers, and then just slipped it under the belly band on this side, or it could be put in the pocket that's on the back page of the book. And then this was another one of the butterflies. I cut this one in half because it had kind of a little boo-booed edge, so I put half of it on this little journaling card, and I just temporarily stuck it under that belly band, but it could go anywhere in the book. And I didn't put anything on this side because I wanted to, you know, y'all to be able to see the pretty pattern paper back there. Then when this one opens up, it's got the same type of pocket. On this one, I added a butterfly. This one, I chose to leave it plain, so whoever ends up with the journal, if it's sold or whatever, then there's room for adding your own touches to it. Because for me, when I make a mini book like this, I don't like lots of foo-foo and embellishments. I want whoever ends up with the book to be able to add their own touches to it based on just my, you know, base book. And then a couple more of the journaling cards or photo mats or whatever you'd want to refer to them. And then this one opens up, and this was the other verse, and it says, "Every realm of nature is marvelous," and this was Aristotle, or a quote from him. So I used this was all from the same piece of paper, but I cut one of the corners so that I would have this little piece with the gold embossed embellishment on the page, so that it went with the verse on this one. And this was another one of the journaling cards I made, but I was trying to use up some of the really nice scraps, so I used the rest of the butterfly on the belly band, but I had to trim this part away from the center book. It came from down here, and I just loved the compass effect, so I thought, well, why not turn it into a belly band, use up some more scraps to make smaller journaling cards, and just attach them all and put them in this little back pocket. So that's what I did. So this is what I call a reverse waterfall. I put a long page, and this was another one of those cards that I just trimmed to fit that had the beautiful embossing, and I just loved the leaves and these little, whatever kind of little fruity balls they were on that particular bush. I'm not really sure. It's open to interpretation, I would imagine. But I used it for the cover, and then on the subsequent pages that fold up, each one gets a little bit smaller, going the opposite direction. That's the reason I call it a reverse waterfall. And I've left them plain so that this could be a place for adding notes, adding extra pictures, adding your own journaling. There's plenty of room to whatever you want to do. And then because I just like the script on this pattern paper, I didn't cover it up. I left it like it was. And then the back cover has just another one of the butterflies that I fussy cut around. And this was more of the same background paper from, I believe it was the top corner of this sheet that had the pansies, and then this verse that I used to embellish the front. So that's just what I call the miniature or single signature version of my larger nature journal. And I'm actually going to be doing a tutorial on this one. I don't know how many parts it'll entail, but I'm going to start from the base of the book and then work it up to the flat pages, and then you'll be on your own for decorating the rest of it. So I'll get started on that hopefully later today. Thanks, y'all. Bye.